My name is Lisa. I live and work in Berlin. I run a studio here where I make hyperrealistic figures and other hyperrealistic sculptural objects. As an artist, I've always worked in the field of realism. Within my commission work, I manufacture hyperrealistic life-size figures for museums mostly and collectors. And with my art stuff, I mostly work in the same field. Usually it takes between 2 or 3 months to make a full figure, which doesn't mean that I'm constantly working on that figure. It also goes back and forth between me and the costume department a lot. Whatever I want to make as an artist or whatever gets commissioned with my company, I always have to start the process with sculpting. That means I'm either sculpting the whole thing from scratch mostly in that case, I'm using plastiline because it doesn't dry out over time, or I'm sometimes using water-based clay. When me and my team cover a person completely in plaster bandages, we have to create individual pieces that come apart so that we get the person out in the end. So this needs a lot of planning and thinking ahead to figure out the process. It's quite a demanding process. It's possible with the materials that I'm using, such as alginate or silicone, to reproduce a human body perfectly. But very often during the sculpting process, I alter the thing so much that no wrinkle is left where it was actually. There's so much sculpting after that and rearranging. It's a long process. After I have a basic paint job on a figure or a head, I can start to finalize the figure with a hair work. Every hair is punched into the silicone individually with a needle. That's also one reason why I use silicone, because it's a really good material for that. And the look is very satisfying. You can go very, very high end with that, and I'm really happy with that. For example, when you have an arm and you want to add hair onto that arm, I think I'm a fast hair puncher and I enjoy hair punching, but for that much around the leg, like for that much space, I need a day, 8 hours for like 10 centimeters. I'm pretty much constantly studying human nature. It's really my main interest, and I look at people all the time and study what makes them look individual or what turns a human into an individual. And so I have a set of many ideas always, like from what is, for example, a little shadow here under the eye, or let's say a pimple, or like a beard hair that like the skin is a bit red somewhere where someone would shave or something, details like that. These little imperfections that finally create a good image of what I want to transport, or in my art also, or the figures, so that they look convincing in the end. I consider myself more as an artist than just a craftsperson, but I think craft and art just work together hand in hand, and the one could not exist without the other. It's just, I think that it is a very crafty profession. Like, I'm using these techniques and these tools all the time, and this together creates the art. But of course, in the end, I have to add an inspiration or spirit, basically, and bring out a free approach with my art, basically, so which turns it into art finally. In a city like Berlin, there's so many people of all different ages and shapes and shades to see, and I just love human nature, and I'm obsessed with studying every little detail and putting it really in the focus of my work. Like, this is, for me, busying myself with that theme is also a way to praise nature for being so beautiful. I take a look at humans in a metaphorical way, and I like to look into the abyss also, and to look at feelings like fear or guilt or shame. Very often it's based on my own emotions. This is a very important aspect for myself, that I go through emotions and I hope to bring them to the audience somehow. You never stop learning, and that's really interesting about that profession.